What I'm going to share here will guide you through both your first time as a complete beginner in Baldur's Gate 3, and later on here, I'll cover more advanced tips for specific encounters. I have time-stamped the video to help you find what you're looking for. I'm Vadd, and welcome to my ultimate Act 1 guide for Baldur's Gate 3. Select New Game. There are 4 main difficulties: Explorer, which is an easy difficulty; Balanced, which we're going to consider a medium difficulty; there is Tactician, which is going to be a hard difficulty; and there is Honor Mode, which is an expert level difficulty. It is currently the hardest difficulty. Choose the one that you think is the most fun. There is no wrong choice. Character creation is a little overwhelming. We're going to clean the screen up just a little bit here. We don't need anything on the left or the bottom or the right. We're just choosing our character's origin. This is the background, their story, kind of before we pick things up. Each of the origin characters has a distinct background, backstory, dialogue, quest. There's no wrong choice here. You can also see each character has a little button that says play introduction. It is a backstory video where they're going to actually give you a little couple of lines of dialogue about who they are and kind of what their motivations are. There is no wrong choice here. You can choose anyone you like. Once you choose the character, you will be locked into that character. Okay, so that backstory is going to be your backstory. They each come with their own character class, but the class can be changed later on. Right now, pick whoever you think is fun. There is no wrong choice here. If you do want to customize your appearance, you will need to pick either the Dark Urge or at the very top, the custom character. This will allow you to customize your appearance. All of the classic standard origin characters, Asteron, Lizelle, Gale, Shadowheart, Will, Karlach, those are appearances you cannot customize. They look how they're going to look. But if you want to customize your appearance, you need to either pick a custom character at the top, or the Dark Urge background will also let you customize your appearance. Pick whatever you think is fun. There's no wrong choice. I'm going to go with the backstory of the custom character. It's kind of a blank slate. Next, I'm going to get to select my race. There's no wrong choice. Pick whatever you think looks fun. Don't overthink it. Go for it. I think the half-orc is a lot of fun, but I don't really like how this half-orc looks. He looks very young and has kind of this goblin feel to it. So I'm going to click Edit Appearance, and I'm going to go through the options and try and create an orc that looks a little more mature. After selecting whatever race is fun for you, you'll often have some other options. For example, the class. Whatever class you choose can start and finish the game at any difficulty. Pick whatever you think is fun. You are not locked into the class choice. Don't overthink it. There's no wrong choice here. Each of the classes have different interactions, but until you've actually tried them and played them, you really don't know what you like. There's no wrong choice. Just pick one you think sounds fun. There's no pressure here. Take your time. If you want to read through everything, you can. If you want to just pick something because you think it's fun that the icon's a big sword or whatnot, pick whatever you think is fun. It's your game and you can change your class later. There's no pressure here. Some classes like the wizard here have spells and cantrips. These can be changed later on, so don't stress out about what do I pick for my spells? I want to be a wizard. Whichever ones you like, you can change them later. You can change them later. Don't worry about it. It's okay. You can change your spells. The background is also kind of a fun little thing. Don't overthink it. The background is more about role playing. It's more about, do you want to have this image in your head that your character used to be an acolyte in some religious order? Do you feel like your character may have been a soldier in a past life? Maybe you were an urchin on the streets. Maybe you used to be a noble. You can come up with anything you think is fun. There's no pressure here. There's no wrong choice. Whatever you think might be a fun backstory for your custom character. Pick whatever is fun. You can read all these little tooltips, but right now they don't really mean anything, and they're all going to have very minor impacts on the way we interact with the world. Pick what you think is fun. I'm going to go with the soldier because I think that's fun. It turns out I'm not very intimidating, but maybe I'm a little bit athletic. That's kind of fun. I don't really know what that means, but it doesn't matter. I just want to be a soldier for my backstory. So I'm a soldier. That's it. And I'm going to go with a fighter. Cool. I'm a big half orc, used to be a soldier for reasons, and I'm a fighter. That's it. There's no more thought to it. There's nothing more complex here. Do whatever you think is fun. Don't overthink it. Each of the classes probably has a few other options. Just pick one. Don't overthink it. Really. If there's one that looks fun, go for it. I think I want to be great at weapon fighting. That's me. I'm a great weapon fighter. Good job, me. Just go for it. Have your fun. Go for it. Ability points. There's only 2 things you need to know about ability points. Only 2. There is a star next to one of these lines. For me as a fighter, it's next to my strength. This is your primary ability. Whatever ability you have a star next to, make sure that is one of the higher numbers. So you can see here, as a fighter, I have a star next to strength. That's important for my class. And so it is the highest number I have. Very nice. Second thing you need to know is we want to focus on getting even numbers, not odd numbers. Right now, I have 3 odd numbers with 17, 13, and 15. And I have 3 even numbers with a 10, a 12, and an 8. We can do a little bit better here. I'm going to go with a 16 in strength, a 12 in dexterity, a 16 in constitution, a 9 in intelligence, a 12 in wisdom, and a 10 in charisma. Or maybe I'll change it. Maybe I'll go 12 charisma, 10 wisdom. But I'm going to end up with 5 attributes here, 5 abilities at an even number and 1 at an odd number. As the fighter, I'm a little strong, I'm a little dexterous, a little nimble on my feet. I have good health with my constitution there. I'm not the smartest in intelligence, I'm not the most wise, but I'm a little bit charismatic. That's my character. Whatever you pick here can be changed later. Don't worry about it. The only 2 important things: make sure whatever ability has the star next to it, you are putting points into so it is one of your highest stats, and make sure you have nice even numbers. It's the only thing that really matters right now. When you're ready, go ahead and click proceed, give your character a name, and don't be overwhelmed. They want us to create a second character. This is going to be used in a handful of cutscenes. I just randomize the appearance until I'm happy. This beginner opening section, we're going to keep spoilers to an absolute minimum, so I'm not going to explain the importance of this Guardian. I just randomize it and I move forward with my life. We are here in the Nautiloid, and the only objective we have, ignore everything on the screen, is I want you to walk around, move your camera. I'm on PC, so I'm going to be using PC controls. Just walk around. That's all we're trying to do. Move the camera, walk around, familiarize yourself with how to move and how to move the camera. That's it. Easy, right? Let's learn a few more things while we're in here. Go into your settings, in the top right here, the menu, okay, and save the game. Let's have our first official save. It's going to say save successful once we've done that. Let's go back in the settings. Go to options, and then we want to look at keybinds, and we're looking for a very specific keybind. This is show item labels. Show item labels. We want to find this keybind. Look what it does. Look. There's something over here we can interact with. It's not a perfect system. It's not going to reveal the whole room, but if we're close to something and it's relatively relevant, we're going to be able to interact with it. Look, there's a pearl here. That's pretty valuable. I'm going to take that. Anything else we can find? Let's look at our inventory. Next to our portrait on the bottom left here is our inventory. Nice. Look at that. There's the pearl we picked up. Here's our character, the level 1 fighter. There are our stats. You can see some other tooltips there, but there's our inventory just to the left of our character's portrait on the screen. It's important to know how to get into your inventory. There are going to be actually 2 treasure chests in this room. You can pause it if you don't want to see where they are. But while we're in the inventory, I want to show you the spell book. Right there in the center. You see it? Spell book. If we had spells to cast, we could change them. There are two treasure chests in this room. Pause it if you don't want me to show you where they are. You can find them yourself. I'm going to show you where they are. There's nothing special in them. It's more so a test of, can you figure out how to move your camera, how to move your character, how to interact with the world. That show item label, for me, it's the left alt key, is really nice. Look, here's one of the 2 treasure chests. Wonderful. We're going to grab the gold and we're going to grab this bronze goblet. We're going to come back towards the sphincter here, kind of towards these steps going up, and we're going to look around and we're going to say, where is the other chest? We're actually able to move our camera pretty far away, and there it is. Do you see it? I'm going to hold down the key. This first chest here on this far side we're walking towards, we can click it once and just chill. We don't actually need to like manually walk our character around 50 steps. Click where you want to go and relax. Now, this didn't show up the first time we pushed that button, the show hidden item button, right? Show interactions, whatever it's called, because it was super far away. We couldn't possibly see this or know it was here. So it's not a perfect system, but I think it's not a mistake. I think it is designed to not be a perfect system. Let's say while you're zooming around, you kind of got yourself a little lost. Like your character and your camera got separated. On the bottom left is your portrait, your character portrait. Double click it. Once you double click it, it not only centers the camera, but it'll also make the camera follow you as you move. So if you don't zoom the camera or move it manually from this moment, you just double click the portrait when you get lost. It'll center back on your dude, and then it will roll around with you, which is really nice. In our inventory, let's open that back up. Remember that goblet we just picked up in that chest? Let's go ahead and interact with this goblet and mark it for wares. Add to wares. What that's going to do is when we get to a merchant, we can just bulk sell all the wares. This is a junk item. I just happen to know it. There's nothing I can really do with this item in a meaningful way. So I'm going to add it to my wares. It's a nice little feature. All right. Camera movement down, camera recentered down, inventory, spell book. I mean, we're just crushing here. There's a couple of things you can interact with in this room. I'm not going to spoil them for you. I do want to point them out though, as you're figuring things out. Up here on this kind of ledge, looks like there's someone we can talk to. They look like they're just kind of hanging out with, you know, their brain out or whatnot. I mean, I think they're doing all right so far. You can go talk to them though. That's a lot of fun. We're going to keep rolling forward though with today's video. Look here. We're going to meet a new companion. I'm not going to spoil, but this is a companion that we're going to meet, and they're going to be lots of fun, or maybe you'll hate them. You know, it's a bit of a coin flip, and that's going to end in combat. In combat, every turn we can do a couple of things. We can do an action, and we can do a bonus action. The bonus action there is the orange triangle, and the action is the green circle, and we can move. Those are kind of the three things we do in combat, okay? You can see here when I drag my mouse around, the red line we can't move to, the white line is our move distance. Isn't that great? So, important things to remember in combat. You have an action, a bonus action, and you can move. That's about it. Now, I want to go hit those guys over there with my sword. I know I have a sword. I'm going to click the action button, and that's going to show all the actions I can do. And then I'm going to click my sword because that's my guy. He's just a guy with a sword, and I'm happy with that. And instead of anything else complicated, I'm going to walk over and hit him. That's it. Now, I still have a bonus action, but I'm not going to use it. I'm going to end my turn, and now it's Lae'zel's turn. You can see in the top of the screen, the portraits there are the turn order and who's alive. Now, maybe we're upset with the difficulty. You can change it. You can change it anytime you like, just like that. Boom. Now it's even easier. Look at that. Just want to highlight the difficulty can be changed, and once you finish combat, you want to loot things. You notice there's a slight elevation here. Lae'zel on the right, she's actually up a couple of steps, and she can only move about like maybe 2.8 meters here, but she has a bonus action still. She can jump, and if you jump from, you know, an elevation, you can jump a little further. Look how far we can move by jumping instead of just walking those, you know, couple of steps. We're going to go ahead and jump to finish our turn. That's really fun. All right, it's going to be our opponent's turn. We're going to take him out, and then we're going to make sure we loot the room using the keybind that you learned from me earlier to help identify what might be lootable. Nothing too tricky here, nothing too fancy here. We know how to walk, we know how to mark things for wares, we know how to pick things up. Let's go over here to the left here. This is the Party View tab. I love this interface. This will let us actually find both of our party members, so we can actually see that her inventory and mine, the whole team. Maybe I want some of these health potions, maybe I want to share some with her. It's an easy way to kind of move things together. I'm going to take this scroll, and you know what? Lae'zel has nicer armor than me. I'm going to take that too. I'm the main character. Yeah, it's all about me. She's got that 16 armor. I have 15. See, it says 16 AC armor class. The higher the number there, the more likely enemies will not hit you. That's it. Bigger number, more defense. They're just less likely to land their attacks on you, or they're going to do less damage, etc., etc. Just, you want a bigger number. That's all that really matters. And you know what? Lae'zel has nicer boots. I'm going to take her boots too. Huh. Now I'm happy. Take that, Lae'zel. But I just want you to know about that party interface tab so that you can, you know, move between things. If you ever get lost, the mini map here actually shows a quest objective. Reach the Nautiloid. It'll show it there. The little dots are us, and that little kind of triangle, you know, glowing shape, whatever, is the main objective. Now, I'm not going to spoil this room. There's a couple ways you could kind of do things, but it all kind of goes in one direction. The only thing I do want to point out here is there's a backpack, and in the backpack there's some gold, and a gem we could sell. Very nice. And I want to highlight here, you can actually take the backpack. Yeah, that's right. A lot of the containers and objects we find, we can actually pick up. And this is another way to kind of help manage your inventory. So maybe I want to keep all of my, fancy gems together and my healing potions or my scrolls. This is one way, other than marking for wares and other by kind of sorting your inventory, we can kind of interact with things. Now, a little further in, we're going to find that item that looks different. See, there's a square around it, kind of an orangey goldy color. This is likely an important quest item. Don't sell these, don't drop these, hold on to them. There's probably a use for them. We have a choice here to free Lae'zel or not, and the key word there, and by Lae'zel I mean Shadowheart. It's a choice. I'm going to free her. You don't have to. It's your choice. Have your fun your way. It is a choice. Almost everything you do is a choice. Now let's look at what Shadowheart's got going on here. She's got a scroll I want. That's nice. And look at her spells. She has spells. Remember I said earlier when we were picking our classes, don't worry about the spells. You can switch them. Let's just switch one. Why not? Shield of Faith, get rid of that. What are we going to do with that? Let's go ahead and take the command spell. That's a lot of fun. Ooh. Okay. Close the party tab and we're going to roll forward. Now, we're getting close to a moment where we're going to want to actually save the game again. There's going to be a forced autosave, but before we go through this door, I'm going to do another save here. So save 00, save 01. This is going to end in combat. We're here now as Shadowheart. Now, to figure out what we're going to do, we're going to take our bonus action first. We're going to jump, get as far as we can while we have a little bit of elevation. And then for our main action, we're going to use dash. Instead of attacking, this is going to give us more movement speed. We're going to try and move through the room. You can take this encounter however you like it. This is just the way I'm approaching it. Now, everyone else is going to attack and try and get that XP, try and push through things. The other thing of note is that, remember, every turn you get a action and a bonus action. So I was a little too far away to attack this guy over here. So I jumped and used my action again to dash to get that bonus movement. I'm going to end my turn. At the top of the screen, see how our character portraits are intertwined? This means it's our turn and we can do the turn in any order we want. So it doesn't have to be from left to right in this case because the portraits are intertwined and they're adjacent. Look at this guy here. Isn't he cool? Man, he's super scary though. Let's examine him. Wow, he's got that big sweet sword. I want his sword. I want the flaming sword. That'd be cool for me. 18 armor class, he's probably very hard to hit. How about we go into our spells as Shadowheart, click command, and how about we tell him to drop his weapon? How's that sound? Sounds good to me. Yeah, take that. And 65% chance to hit. Got him. Weapon dropped. Everybody's happy, but I need to go pick it up still. All right, we're gonna jump over and kind of reach it. Not quite from this angle, maybe just this side here. Perfect. Yep, we're stealing his sword. He's already our enemy, so he's not going to care. And he's not only debuffed, we now have this weapon. Can I equip it? No. But I can still, in combat, from a distance, trade between party members. It's good to know. Sometimes you want to give somebody a health potion. We're going to make our way to the transponder, and I will see you at the beach. I recommend saving here. You just landed. This is a good spot for a manual save. Welcome to the beach. You did it. Hey. Real quick, that's the game, okay? You move around, you talk to some people, you explore some areas, you end up with some combat, you explore some areas, you talk to some people, you end up in some combat, right? This is the game going forward. If that wasn't, compelling to you, it's just going to get more, complicated and more of that. I just want to make sure that's clear kind of early on here. Listen, we had a level up, we used it. In our inventory, you can actually see we're still wearing armor. There's a little transmog button here that just shows that it hides it visually. It's just a cosmetic thing. I just like having the shirt. We're going to make sure that we are trying to kind of manage our inventory effectively in our backpack, where I'm going to put on potions and I'm going to put in a scroll. And then I'm going to take that backpack and put it onto my little hotbar here. Isn't that great? That means from now on, if I'm out and about, I need a potion, I can just click this backpack. You could also use pouches. Pouches are just like backpacks, except they weigh a little less, which is nice. But we also have this camp pack. It looks like a backpack. The only difference is the camp pack only holds our camping supplies. These are like food and tents and whatnot, okay? And these can all be sent to camp. So there's three big things we do in our inventory. We send things to camp, we add them to our wares to be sold, or we hold on to them so we can use them. We're going to make our way up the beach and meet Shadowheart. we always have a choice. We can say, hey, go away, or hey, let's go together. Since we saved Shadowheart, she's here. If you choose not to save her on the Nautiloid, remember, we always have a choice. Then there's a possibility she won't be here. I'm not going to spoil how these things play out as best as I can in these beginner sections, but we're going to go ahead and get ourselves to the first fast travel point, loot the beach, okay? If you're not naturally a bit of a stuff goblin, then this might be a little bit awkward, but you really do want to be actively just grabbing as much of the stuff as you can. Just all the stuff, take this stuff. If you're over encumbered, manage your inventory. Trade it between your characters, okay? Send it to camp. Plan to sell it. We're going to make our way up the beach to the structure here in this kind of glowing purple sigil. This is a fast travel point. From now on, anywhere in the world, we can open our map and we can fast travel to this location. Just go ahead and open up your map. It's a button there on the right, and you can just travel to this location. Just like that, we've traveled there. Anytime you want, anywhere you are. Now, the structure here is actually locked, and we don't have thieves tools. You need to have thieving tools to lockpick things, and we just don't have any. Now, there's some combat here ahead of us, but maybe I'm not in the mood for combat. What are we going to do? You can see here, it very clearly shows you cannot go here. You cannot go here. Is that true? What if we jumped? Huh. I really want you to be thinking not just outside the box. It's kind of the wrong thing there. Not outside the box, but recognize that there are times when outside the box thinking is rewarded. There's oftentimes, if not always, more than one way to do a thing. You can see even after we jumped the first time, we could not travel here. However, we actually just need to jump again. And look at this. There's a treasure chest. This was not visible until we got to this elevation. How fun is that? We're going to take everything. There's the structure on the right on our fast travel point. Might as well take the chest. Why not? We're taking everything. We're a loot goblin. Listen, now what? Do we go to the left? Do we go to the right? Do we try and climb up the hill? Do we see if we found any thieves' tools? It's your choice. I'm going to climb up this hill, and we're going to get stuck again. What are we going to do? We can't do this. It says we can't do it. Is that true? No, we can just jump. Yay. On the left here, this is an important mechanic to understand. We can ungroup the party. Let's do that. This means that when we move, okay, the portraits will literally separate. When we move, we're not going to follow each other, because sometimes we get stuck when we're traversing camp. Sometimes we get stuck when we're moving across things like jumping, and the party wants to stay together. So if it's grouped up, they're going to try and find you, but they can't always quite get back. Sometimes it's a little tricky. So you'll ungroup the party, and you just want to jump to the character who's stuck, and you'll kind of just manually navigate them back. It's a good thing to know how to do, and positioning matters a little bit in combat, so it's kind of a good skill to just kind of practice here. So we have one of the main origin stories. We've learned how to group and ungroup the party. We have a fast travel point. Let's go ahead and grab another. It's your choice how you want to interact with this. I'm going to invite Gale to come with me because I think that's fun, and we unlocked another fast travel point at any time. We can open the map and come here. We're going to head up the road here, okay? In this direction, there's going to be an encounter. I'm not going to spoil. Your choice how you want to handle it. But we're going to get past this encounter here and just move around back towards the beach, and look who we found here. That's right. We found another of the main characters. Very fun. And again, we always have a choice. We can say, leave me alone, go to camp, come with me. Now, one thing I want to do, now that we have the whole party, let's go to the character sheet and let's go over to this tab on the character sheet, okay? You see there's proficiency bonuses. Our characters are actually different classes. So I'm proficient in heavy, light, medium armor, and shields. Shadowheart's proficient only in light armor and shields and medium, and Gale and Astarion can only do light armor, and Gale can do a shield. This means that sometimes you're going to pick up items that just aren't good for your characters. Don't overthink it. It's not a big deal, but it's worth knowing how to find that. Just up the hill here, we have a chance to meet Lizelle. You can choose how you want to end this interaction. We're going to free her from this little cage here by breaking the bottom of it, and we're going to send her to camp. We're going to say, all right, let's journey together, but then we're going to choose to have her go to camp, not join the team. Okay, so far, so good. We're going to make our way back to the fast travel point we were just at, and then we're going to kind of make our way up the hill here. Now, going up this way, there's going to be a shovel. There's going to be times there are buried treasure that you can dig up. Sometimes you'll be walking around and the dice will start the roll and it'll say, hey, failed perception check. Try and dig around. Sometimes you can dig these up even if you don't know exactly where it is because you failed the check. Look, we got some goodies. Now, there's a crossroads here. There's kind of to the left here, this big rock, and there's some stuff going on over there. And to the right is where we're going to go because this is going to be another fast travel point. This is an important one we go to quite a bit. This is going to be the Emerald Grove run. Let's go back quick to the roadside cliff, okay? Okay, this is right where we were when we met Gale, just before we met Lizelle. We're gonna come over here and I wanna show you this interaction. There is this building from the beach. We're actually at the ceiling, kind of the roof, kind of the courtyard here above it, where we could maybe get into. Remember, we don't have the thieves tools to get through that door, but maybe there's another door here that's unlocked. Maybe there's some other way that we could enter this building. I just want you to be thinking, if you discover you can't do a thing, there just might be another way. Now, it seems like there's some folks here who might not be our friends. Let's make an enemy today. We're going to get the whole team together. On the left here, we can actually tell the whole team to hide. Everybody hide. And when we're hiding, it actually shows us the vision cones of our enemy. It's these red kind of outlines of where they're looking. This means we can kind of sneak around. Now, I don't want everyone to sneak together. Some of us are more sneaky than others, and it looks like nobody's looking at us. Let's do this. We're going to ungroup the party. I think that's a good idea. And then I think we'll all hide. And then I think maybe we can use the environment to our advantage. Look, they're kind of standing near a big hole, aren't they? What do you think we could do? What do you think we should do? We could go talk. We could ambush them. I'm going to ungroup them. I'm going to crouch them. And I'm going to take my rogue, my Astarion here. Okay. This dude's got a little bow and arrow. He's not too bad with it. And I kind of see a gap in this window where no one's looking or patrolling by. And I'm going to, I'm going to take my bow, and instead of targeting the enemy, I'm going to shoot this rope. Let's see what happens. Did you notice there's another door up here as well? And look, we just broke a big hole in the ceiling. There's often more than one way to do a thing. Now we could get into this structure and explore. On the bottom right, there's this little menu here. We can short rest to regain half our health. Okay. We can long rest to move time forward, to move the narrative forward, and we can go to camp. At any time, we can pitch a tent, we can get our camping supplies out, make a little fire. It's kind of cozy. Let's go to camp. Everyone here has a tent, and there's lots of good interactions to be had here. Lots of the times the narrative is moved forward at camp when you long rest. We don't really need to rest right now. Just want to show you this is a thing. In addition, when we're sending things to camp, there's a camp chest. That camp chest is going to be where we can actually find the things we sent to camp. Remember, we sent Lizelle to camp, so she's actually here as well, and we can get in her inventory. And we've got all kinds of fun things in our camp chest here, the traveler's chest, as we have been sending things here. Now, in addition, eventually it's an unmissable character. Withers will be at your camp. This is where you can change your class. I said, remember right at the start, hey, you can change these things on your character. Don't overthink it. Withers is a way to do that. We're going to go ahead and rest. Okay, we're going to end the day. And this actually changes things. Look, Gale now has something going on. Maybe we should talk to him. Each of the main companions has a quest line you can choose to ignore. You can choose to follow, but you want to be interacting with them, especially here at camp when you long rest, to get these quests to move forward. Remember, you do not have to use your camping supplies to do a long rest. It'll be a partial rest. It's not going to give you all the regenerative, bonuses, but things happen. I'm not going to spoil anything, but things happen when time moves forward at these long rests. Okay. We're going to use that same menu on the bottom right here to leave camp. We don't need the short rest. We don't need the long rest. Let's just go back to where we were. It takes us right back to where we were because we literally just pitched the tent. We started camping here. Okay, we're adventurers, we're explorers. Let's go back towards this location over here. There's times in a fight when having the high ground is a small advantage. So we're kind of up on this cliff and there's a bit of a fight that's going to go on here. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to show you the way I get through this. There's more than one way to do this. However, we're going to start the fight from on this cliff just to have a little bit of an advantage. I really do recommend looting everything you can. If they shut the doors on you, okay, or you use up some of your things, go ahead and use a short rest. You can see oftentimes it'll say in the tooltip, hey, you can get this ability back if you short rest. All you need to do is short rest. Let's go in to this gate. I know they shut the gate. I mean, just walk up to it. They're going to open it. They're friendly like that. Sometimes kind of sort of figure that out for yourself. An important mechanic here. We're going to be in a cutscene, but in the bottom left corner, okay, you're going to be able to sometimes have to mouse over it. You can actually switch characters, okay? And if we switch our characters, you can see 3 of our characters are not in the cutscene. One of them is, which means we can actually maybe sneak around. And if we think the cutscene is going to end in a fight, maybe we want to position them for a fight, or maybe we want to start pickpocketing people. And this time it's easier to pickpocket people when we're in turn-based mode. Just like in combat, we can do this at any time. And by doing this, we have an opportunity sometimes in cutscenes to take advantage of a situation and set ourselves up to be successful. We need to be crouched to pickpocket, and we're going to have to actually to roll the dice. So you can see here, if I want this key or a watermelon, I have to roll an 8. If I want these fancy gloves, I have to roll a 14. Oh no. Did we steal them or not? We did. Yes. We're in turn-based mode, so it's our turn. Now it's going to be their turn. We're going to leave turn-based mode, just there on the bottom right, okay? And let's put the gloves on. Nice. We have these fancy gloves. Isn't that great? I like these fancy gloves. And nobody saw us take them. That's great. But you know what? Somebody noticed that they're missing their gloves, and we're the only new people. We're going to say it wasn't us. Problem solved. But you know what? He confronted Shadowheart directly. That's right. He's going to confront us individually for a reason. I don't really know. But how about we try and roll the dice? And I'm going to try and roll at an advantage. What that means is I get to roll 2 dice, and I can pick the higher roll. You can see I need to roll a 15, and I got a 12. Not quite good enough, but I also have a debuff to charisma, so I actually got an 11 on my roll. That's a shame. Let's try again. There's times when your characters are inspired by an event that happened in the world, and you can spend these inspiration points to re-roll on your dice rolls. Remember, you can only hold on to 4 inspiration points at a time. So if you're at 4 and you feel like re-rolling, they're yours. Spend them how you think are fun. Now we're in combat. Something very important here happened. Did you notice it? This enemy said temporarily hostile right at the start. And if we mouse over them, it very clearly shows again, temporarily hostile. And if we click and examine them, we can actually see they are temporarily hostile. I want you to know about examining the enemies, paying attention to them, and this condition in particular, because what it means is we may have done a bad thing and they're upset, but they're not really our enemy. So we can actually just run away. We're going to use our bonus actions to dash. And you can see in the bottom right here, if we get far enough away from an enemy, we can just run away from combat. We're going to click flee, and that's going to actually just take us back to camp. It'll just put us in camp. But on the left here, you can see the rest of our dudes are still in combat. They have the little sword icon next to their portraits. Let's run away as far as we can. And if we're far enough, it shows the distance, we can just flee. We're going to get everyone to flee, and then we're going to come back. And let's see what happens. I'm going to tell you what happens. You have successfully fled combat from a temporarily hostile NPC, okay? Non-playable character, which means that they aren't your enemy anymore. You're not in combat when you come back. This is our very first merchant here in the Hollow. The only button I'm really interested in is selling all the wares, things I've been picking up. There's lots of like nuance to the merchant, but like most shopkeepers, you have gold, he's got items, you trade them. You trade goods for items. Let's also get will while we're here. This is what I'm going to call the Druid camp, okay? This is a very kind of robust location. Once we've picked up will, I'm not going to spoil anything here. I just want you to know that you can pretty much talk to everyone here. You can open every door, open every box, and there's lots of things going on that are definitely worth spending time kind of chatting with and figuring out. And don't forget, some characters can talk to animals. So there's also animals here you can try and talk with. So again, not going to spoil anything here. I just want you to know this place exists. We found our first merchant. Yay. Let's go back to the Emerald Grove fast travel point. And this time, instead of going back to where we were in combat, which was just kind of over here, and the gate here is going to be on our right, we're going to go up the road a little further here, okay? Now, there's a path to the right we could go, which I do want you to go to. I am not going to go there. It's a good cutscene, a good interaction. Definitely worth having that conversation. We're going to go left. It's a very small fork in the road. It's just this kind of rock in between us, okay? But overall, I'm just going to zoom in again so you can see. It's a good cutscene. It's a good cutscene. Some world building. You might have some items or a quest depending on the dialogue. We're going to go across this stone bridge. I really want you to know where this is, as it's just a good landmark for kind of this early section. There's lots of things I could really tell you a lot about, but at the end of this section, you're just going to know enough to be dangerous. A lot of things are super specific to what choices you make, what characters you made. We're going to go to the right here in the woods. We can talk to those guys. I just want you to head this way for the moment, because we're going to go ahead and pick up one of the more companions. Actually, the last companion. You're on the right way, because usually I find this good boy over here. Hopefully he's a good boy. Let's talk. Oh, he only barks because we don't speak dog. Well, there's almost always another way we can interact with the thing. What if we came back, we opened up our inventory and drank a potion of animal speak? Some classes can also cast a spell, and now the dog talks. Isn't this great? And we also have complete different dialogue choices. We're going to keep going past this way to this river, but notice it says we can't cross the river. That's crazy. I can see the other side. We really can't cross this river. What if we jump? That's right. Oftentimes there's more than one way to do a thing. We can jump our way across. Isn't that great? This is where Karlach is. This is not the only way to get to her. However, it's just one of the early ways to do it. This is the last of the official canon origin characters. If you were playing as one of these characters, you don't have to pick them all up, because if you started as Karlach, you just are Karlach. She's not going to be here, right? But now you know how to find them all. You've got a few fast travel points. You've got a merchant. And what are we going to do? We're going to take all this stuff. She left a whole backpack here full of stuff and a backpack for us. Oh my goodness. Let's go back to the Emerald Grove and save. We should have a save right in the first room, a save right before we left the ship and got in that fight, a save right at the beach, a save just before we started the Druid Grove fight, and a save now once we have all the companions. These are kind of key moments in our journey. Back at the bridge here, let's talk about this. We could go to the right where we just went, where we met Scratch the dog and we found Karlach. We could also go to the left and go down this path here. Instead, we're going to choose to go through the big gate door, right? We're going to go through this location here. Let's see what happens.
Goblins ahead. Looks like they're laying an ambush.
Goblins ahead laying an ambush? Oh my goodness. In your controls, you can find how to find enemy vision cones. Okay, so we can actually see, now that we know there are goblins laying an ambush, we can actually hold down left shift. I think on controller, it's probably like, pushing the joystick. Anyhow, you need to look at the controls. We can see there's some goblins here waiting to ambush us. If we had failed that perception check when we walked through and the dice rolled automatically, there's a chance we might not even be able to see these vision cones, right? We're going to sneak, and we're not going to be able to sneak past here, but we could jump over this rock, right? And now we could maybe just make our way up this ladder, or instead of the ladder, we could maybe jump, or how about climb up these boxes? I just want to highlight there's so many ways you could engage with the environment. It's not supposed to be overwhelming. It's supposed to be empowering. Now we have the advantage. We can ambush the ambushers, but what if we don't want to do that? What if we have some trouble getting around that way? What else could we do? Let's just look around the edge of the wall, see if there's anything we can find. Do you see what I see? Look at that. There's a break in the wall, and there's some vines growing from this tree. We're going to climb the vines, and now we can get, without all that extra sneaking, we can all just kind of climb up on the roof together. And again, we could ambush the ambushers. What if instead we want to do some trickery? We could use the disguise self spell. Shadowheart has it, and I think Gale has it. Oh, he doesn't have it equipped. That's okay. We can fix that. Open up your inventory, go to your spell book, and we're going to go ahead and equip the change, disguise self spell. And we actually have an item that lets us do it as well, even though we're not a spellcaster. So we're going to go ahead and use the disguise self spell. And how about we pick a drow? That sounds like fun. D-R-O-W, a drow. And we're just going to walk through and see what happens. There's more than one way to do a thing. That's just kind of what I'm really trying to highlight here. Okay. And if you're doing it one way and it's working, that's great. If you want to try another way, go for it. And as a drow, we have a complete different interaction. We have a little cutscene. We have a little, so sorry, we're not going to bother you anymore. It's very fun. It's very different. It's one of countless interactions that the world will interact with you as you interact with it. We're going to go over to this fast travel point. And this is kind of nearing the end of the beginner section. I really hope that you feel a little more empowered to go out and explore how to move things forward. We are here in the Blighted Village. I'm going to show you a couple more kind of directions here. Okay, we're going to end our shape-shifting because we shape-shifted. A little button that pops up once you shape-shift. From this fast travel point, okay, there's kind of like 4 directions we could go. One is back the way we came to the Druid Village. Okay, if we head kind of past to see there's a well here and there's a tree on a rock, if we head down this path, okay, there's going to be another encampment over that way, which is going to be a lot of fun to explore. Have fun there. In addition, we could go down the hill here. Okay, just down the hill here leads back kind of towards the water, and there's a bit of a swamp here, which is a lot of fun to explore. In kind of the third direction, we'll double click our portrait here, is we can actually turn our way and go up the hill here. There's these gates over here. You can find your way around or through, or a quest might unlock. Into the north here is a mountainous path. These are the 4 kind of big directions you could go and have fun. I really hope that you have fun and things have become more approachable, as this is the end of the beginner section. And moving forward in the video, we're going to talk about more specific interactions and more kind of advanced mechanics, which means there will be spoilers. early Underdark here in the Blighted Village. We can get into the Underdark early. This is one of 4 entrances. This just happens to be the earliest entrance. We will need to climb down the bucket rope here and then do a little sneaking. We will need at least a Featherfall spell, but it's going to be easier to do with the Featherfall and Misty Step. You can sneak past the spiders. You can fight the spiders. I'm going to go to the left-hand path, okay? And I'm going to use my Misty Step and Featherfall. A level 2 wizard will have access to these spells if you so choose. You can Misty Step the big gap here and just avoid a lot of the spiders. See there from the right to the left, and then we're going to enter turn-based mode, and then we can sneak over to this giant glowing kind of green pit. And from here, you need to cast Featherfall. Cast Featherfall and then jump. Cast Featherfall and then jump. When you land, go ahead and enter turn-based mode again. We still have Featherfall up, and it makes the route down very easy. Big jump here, okay? And then we can jump all the way down since we still have Featherfall, and then make our way over, talk to the Myconoids. It's always lovely, and we will grab the fast travel point here. That's right, early Underdark here, and a fast travel point here for the Myconoid colony. At the very start, we can get a Speak to Undead Amulet. Here's the waypoint Overgrown Ruins. You can go in the top. There's a door, there's a back door, there's a big hole in the ceiling, there's a door on the ground. Whatever door you go through, eventually you're going to make your way into this kind of bottom back section. There's some traps, there's some lock picking, just some standard kind of dungeon crawling stuff. But as you come all the way back here, make sure you're looting everything as you go. There's lots of goodies in here. I think there's 3 coins for Karlach as of the time of recording. Back here, hit the button, slap the button, push the button, and make your way to this chest. And now you can use the Amulet of Speak to Undead and speak to, the dead. Nice. From the Emerald Grove, there on the right's the Druid. Right up the road here towards the Blighted Village, jump up these rocks, okay? On the left here, jump. Up here we can find the Guidance Cantrip, again is an amulet, which is very nice. It'll again let anyone cast it, just like the Speak to Undead amulet before. The Guidance Amulet is really, really nice to have. It's on this body here by the campfire. Okay, you need to loot this body to get the Guidance Amulet here. Now, this also applies to pickpocketing. So you're going to want to cast this on your pickpocket before they do their thing. And you can check the rolls in the little log. You can actually see that the Guidance spell actually did influence if you succeeded or not. Here it was a +2. From the Emerald Grove, make your way past Volo, past the ritual going on. Make your way down to this kind of suspicious looking rock. Doesn't it look suspicious? It's got a little moss on top. Pick it up and drag it. Just move it. Okay, just literally drag over and move it. There's an amulet under here as well. This amulet will let you cast a level 2 restoration, which is really nice to have because if you're feeding your vampire for the powerful bonuses the vampire gets, a fed vampire gives you powerful debuffs, right? -1 to attack rolls, saving throws, ability check. This is a huge problem. Well, this amulet's going to let us kind of negate that. The amulet of Silvanus here, because we can just cast that level 2 restoration and then cure ourselves of the disease. Happy vampire, happy partying. I mean, it's just a win-win all around. I'm going to help you out here with Mole, okay? This one's really tricky. There's a lot of ways to mess this up. When you're in the Emerald Grove, talk to Donnie, okay? Let Donnie trick you, okay? Turn around, see what he's looking at. And you need to pass the perception check. Then, after passing the perception check, you also need to pass this investigation check. Oh my goodness. Do not go in there if you pass these checks. Do not go in there, okay? We're going to make our way down the hill, and there's a second entrance in here to find Maul, which we're also not going to go into. There's a perception check here as well. You're going to need to be a gnome, a dwarf, a halfling to fit through this gap, but you will need to gain access to one of the 2 locations. Do not go into them. Before you go in, first, agree to help the child. Just go down the hill. There's some parents who are like, hey, what's going on? They're like, they're going to hurt our kid. And we're like, we'll help. Go to these doors, save before you go through if your safe's coming, and then make sure you persuade the druids to not hurt the child. Save the child. This is the easiest way to help a tiefling kid. There's, I think, 2 or 3 kids that need help. We're going to get a Dancing Light Locket, which is a very nice cantrip if it's dark. You need to save one of the tiefling kids. This is the easiest, earliest one to do, and then make your way either through the hole or through the hatch you found with the perception check. This is going to have Mole give you the option to steal the idol the druids are chanting at. can't agree to help her steal the idol. It's going to show up in your quest log now. There's lots of ways to do this, but once you've stolen the idol, you're going to want to go ahead and give the idol back to Mole, and you'll get this very nice ring, which is going to be a +1 to armor class and saving throws. If you did mess up that first child at the Grove, you can save another if you head back this way. It's a little bit tricky here. There's some Harpies down here. We've got a couple of options to make this fight more manageable. One of the first options is to make sure you separate the party, okay? Ungroup the party, and don't walk everyone down here to your death, as it can be very dangerous. One spell we can use is Sanctuary, okay? We can cast that on the child down here and then just try and run away, as the Sanctuary spell is going to help protect them. Another option is to cast the Silence spell and create this kind of big bubble of silence. And so as you can see here, Gale's being walked to his death, but he walks into the silence bubble, and then that breaks the spell and saves him. Now, a third option is the Calm Emotion spell. We can get the child and our whole team in it. This is pretty good as well. The only issue here, oh, really quick, we could also preemptively, throw some bombs to where the Harpies might be. I always thought this would get patched out, but if you use the Guidance spell, okay, it's going to break the Calming spell. But because we threw the Caustic Ball, we threw some explosion stuff, it still disrupted the spell, but we're going to need to recast that Calming spell. I think the Calming spell is the best way to go. It's going to give you 10 full turns to make a good decision, but it is a concentration spell, so it can be broken. But this again will give us that introduction to the mall so we can go steal the quest. Remember, after you take out the Harpies, okay, make your way around to the side, and there's going to be a ring of color spray, and you can cast this spell using this ring for free, which is going to blind your foes, which is actually a pretty good advantage. And a lot of bosses are not weak to, or they are susceptible to blinding, so it's a nice ring to pick up. In addition, when we're here at the Druid village, remember Volo? We can actually trade with him here. We can trade with actually a lot of NPCs. You really want to be paying attention to this lower left corner. There's a trade icon. Anytime you're talking to someone, see if you can trade with them. Lots of people can trade who aren't dedicated merchants. Volo has a very nice ring that's going to give a bonus when you're healing creatures. Definitely worth picking up. Shovel quest, Shovel Quasit. It's an achievement and it's tricky. Go to Withers, respec into a wizard, okay? This might get patched or changed in the future, but after you've respec, you can always pickpocket Withers and get your hard-earned gold back. Go to the Blighted Village after respecing into a wizard and go into the basement here, okay? We can fail the perception check and still find this lever. We just need to move the boxes, drag and drop, just drag and click, pull the lever, make your way back here. Make sure you have specced into a wizard. I don't know why that works. It's the only way I've gotten to consistently work. Come over here and pick up the Scroll of Summon Quasit. Now, we're going to summon Quasit as a wizard. Be very careful here. Do not learn the spell. Summon. Cast spell. Cast spell. Cast spell. Okay, we're going to cast the spell. And there's a couple of dialogue checks here. I'm going to show you the path I took. I don't think it's the only path. I think the only really important one is to not rename Shovel. Maybe that's true, maybe that's not true. I've heard it different ways, but these are the dialogue options I followed in order to get this to work. We're a wizard, we go down here, we pick up the scroll, we cast the spell, we talk the shovel, we go over to the mirror, okay? And again, more dialogue here. I think there's more than one way to do this mirror quest. However, these are the dialogue choices I chose in order to get through this. Okay, they're on screen. Take your screenshots anytime you like. There's just a couple of them. Once we get through here as a wizard, we're going to walk inside and then we're going to talk to Shovel. If we did this correctly and it all works, we're going to get this specific dialogue about using Sparky magic to call Shovel. Okay, this is going to make a common action, calling of Shovel. Now, I've been told that sometimes this has an issue if you don't get the dialogue until you pick up the book. There's a whole bunch of traps back here, more than one way to get through this. We could always just cast Mage Hand, okay, and then fly around through over the bars, and then we can pick up the book and throw it outside of the trap. Maybe don't throw it onto a trap, do your best here, and then having thrown the book, we can just pick it up and then try and talk to Shovel and get that dialogue. If you really mess up the mirrors somehow, there are 3 boxes by the lever, which I think is intentional because you can actually stack up the 3 boxes and then kind of take this back doorway into the lab. I don't know if that'll mess up Shovel's quest, but I just want you to know it's an option. If you like this video, click like. YouTube channel members to support what I do. Look, we're going to go here and click on Shovel's portrait. We're going to dis-summon him from Shovel's action bar. Okay. Having done that, we're going to go to Withers, respec into a fighter, and you can see a common action. It is a common action to summon Shovel. Okay. That means any class should be able to do it.